It is your boy, Slickhead here, back again for a brand new video. Now, on the day that this video premieres, it'll probably be like April 14th, at least I hope it is. And since it is the 114th, literally 114th anniversary that the RMS Titanic had sunk, I figured this would be a good opportunity for me to start my first ever tier list video. I've wanted to do these for a while, but I didn't know which common ground to start at. But I think since I have seen, back in my childhood, I'm going to share a secret with you. Back in my childhood, I used to be able to watch some Titanic movies and documentaries as a kid, and I really liked them. So I figured that I'd go back and watch some more, and also rewatch some of the ones I watched as a child, and rank them all from worst to best. Obviously, there's going to be spoilers in the video, which kind of goes without saying. And the only two, I'm going to be mainly ranking the movies, so the 4 plays or something from 1912 don't really count. The TV show from 2012 doesn't count, and the other ocean liner movies don't count because this is primarily on Titanic media. The only 2 exemptions I'm going to make to this rule are the 2 documentaries from National Geographic on the Titanic. Those are the only 2 exceptions. Everything else, I'm going to be ranking all the movies and those documentaries by release order, meaning we're going from the oldest to the newest. Also, these are all my opinions, meaning if you disagree, that is perfectly fine. Please let me know what you agree and disagree with. And without further ado, let's get into the ranking. Okay, we are here with the official tier list. I'm going to be ranking all of these movies here from worst to best, and I included every single tier. And we are going to start off with the first official Titanic movie, controversially the first one. Atlantic 1929. Now, this was like a really old one, and it's mainly a movie constructed solely based off of like the perspective of different Titanic survivors, which during the time, there were plenty of Titanic survivors in 1929. But, like, the thing is, I've watched it, I actually was kind of obsessed, I wanted to see it, and ever since I saw Secrets of Titanic, they included clips from this specific movie I always wanted to see for myself, and, my high hopes were kind of met. Now, the one thing I want to point out is that the entire movie is based on the sinking part. Like, they get the iceberg in, like, the first few minutes of the movie. And the rest of the movie is mainly about how the survivors are panicked and trying to run through different courses of the Titanic in order to get to the lifeboats, while including the whole lifeboat shtick about women and children only. And honestly, it does a really good job of that. It also includes a few lifeboats having trouble or even sinking due to some technical difficulty when lowering them down, which is something that's barely mentioned in any other Titanic movie. And I love the Nearer My God to Thee sung in this movie. It's honestly one of the best ones I've ever seen in any Titanic movie. If I had any issue, it would be that if the sinking is already going to start in like the first few minutes, and it's like the movie's like not a little more than 90 minutes long, the pacing does fall a little short on that, but otherwise I'm gonna give this a solid A tier. I really like it. It did capture the whole memory and the sheer terror of the Titanic for what it was at the time, but that's kind of its big standout of it. And next up, so this one is the German propaganda film Titanic, released in 1943, and it was practically made as a propaganda weapon to mock and go against the British during the time, considering Germany and Japan were at wars with all the rest of the world at the time. So they made this specifically to mock and weaponize the British as arrogant bastards, which, granted, the Titanic incident was solely on human arrogance about defying against nature, but the way they portray that in this movie is honestly, I'm not saying it's devoid of quality. Like, they did an okay job with the sinking sets of the Titanic, and the flooding scenes are pretty decent. And that's kind of the only reason why I'm not putting them in there, so I'm gonna get this a D tier. It's not a good movie, but it's also not the worst one I've seen. I had to watch all these movies prior to this ranking. And also the 2 documentaries. I have to see those 2. Because I'm including them for my own biased reasons. Okay, moving on. The Hollywood hit Titanic from 1953. This is one of the very few that I actually own on DVD. And it was actually really good. I really liked it. And the thing is, this mainly focuses on like a rich family and family drama and dynamics about a husband who has been abandoned by the wife, secretly trying to hide it from the kids. And the reason why is because the drama, while it's technically made to keep kids away from it, it's actually really engaging and potent, and it has a strong emotional core. And the actors, especially Barbara Wright, definitely carried this movie forward, because this is the way they handled that specific story is actually really excellent. And as for the Titanic, well, they added more facts than Titanic 1943. And I'm gonna have to say this still deserves an A tier. It's a special place in my heart, but like by normal world standards, it's still really good. And it's amazing for the time. The special effects they used in that movie in 1953 still hold up pretty well in the modern day, which is why it's above Atlantic. Next up is, oh wow, A Night to Remember. Okay, the only thing that's really holding this movie back for me is a few outdated facts about the Titanic sinking. Like, this is still made before they actually found the wreck, so there's a few outdated facts, but that's the only reason why it's not an S tier. But it's going on the very top of A tier. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's well paced. It has so many great perspectives, including the great Molly Brown. I'm not including the musical for this list because it's not a movie. But the entire movie, the sinking and how the people interact, and basically everything. Everything was done so well to the point where the survivors hate this movie solely based on how realistic it looks, especially for 1958, and considering this is literally a novel adaptation. The original novel in 1955, which I forgot, A Night to Remember, this is an excellent adaptation, and it well deserves to be in the top areas. SOS Titanic. It's literally just A Night to Remember, but like, it's bland. It's basically just a bland repeat of A Night to Remember, but like in color, I guess. I don't want to judge this too much because it's nothing. There's nothing particularly wrong with it outside of being bland and forgettable. But like, who the hell watches this over A Night to Remember? And there are some, and the stuff that they did add that wasn't contrived of A Night to Remember, it was just pretty off acting, and I didn't really like it at all. But I prefer it over the German film, so C tier. It's literally just A Night to Remember. Just watch that instead. Raise the Titanic. Okay, so this is made literally the exact year after this was released, and much like the German film, this is really out. This is a failure of a movie, let's just say. Not just of how inaccurate the wreck of the Titanic looks by today's standards, but also the fact that the Titanic really doesn't play much of a role outside of being an obstacle. Like, this is a Soviet Cold War propaganda movie where they had to retrieve, like, a certain artifact or element that's only found in the wreck of the Titanic, so they have to raise it up just so they can get it, so they can develop a new weapon against the enemies during the Cold War. Like, the Titanic is almost never ever featured in that. But I didn't think it was that painful to watch. We'll get to those painful movies later, but honestly, at least the German Titanic movie had some decent sinking sets. This one practically has nothing going for it. It's a well-deserved D tier. But this thing right here, Secrets of the Titanic, the best. This is without a doubt my pick for the absolute best piece of Titanic media to ever be released in 1986. National Geographic and Robert Ballard released this amazing documentary, stating every single known fact of the Titanic, not only before the expedition, but also during Robert Ballard's expedition. He doesn't hold any of his facts back. He tells his entire story, regardless of how embarrassing it could potentially be, talking from a realistic standpoint. He plays everything well out and perfectly. And they show full footage, the official footage of seeing the actual wreck for the first time in 74 dark and silent years. The pacing is amazing, the storytelling is amazing, from the past facts of Titanic to like the discovery of the Titanic to the rewritten facts. He played everything out beautifully. Well deserved S tier. And following up, 11 years later. I mean, it's obviously. I mean, this is literally everyone's pick for the best Titanic movie to ever come out. But like, let's be real here for a second. Is this really an amazing film, or is it just an overrated love story? Like, plenty of my family members criticize it for being that, just a tedious love story that happens to take place during that time, but I'm gonna have to disagree because rewatching it's easy to understand why this is the best and most well-known Titanic movie to ever come out. This is amazing, but there are like a couple of minor issues I have. Specifically with scenes, like in the first part, that one scene that I like to have like removed is when Jack and Rose are just running away from Lovejoy just chasing them around the ship. You don't need to have that in. You can just clip it out. Another thing you can clip out is like Cal trying to literally murder them and force Jack and Rose back into the lower levels while the Titanic is sinking in a faster rate than before. Those are like my only nitpicks on the movie, but everything else is done amazingly well. It is peak cinema without a doubt. So it's still a S tier movie at the end of the day, but is it really better than Secrets of the Titanic? Now the few unnecessary scenes are kind of holding it back for me, but it's still it's just right behind Secrets of the Titanic. This spot is really nothing to sneeze at. Okay, so it's still an amazingly near perfect movie, and I highly recommend anyone to do it, even if it's just a tad bit too long. Legend of Titanic. Okay, we have officially moved on to the bad movies. Thank good grief, is this horrible. So this is basically like, so America and North Korea and one other country I forgot decided to band together and try to make a kid-friendly adaptation to the historical sinking of Titanic. This is released in 1999, like 2 years after this one did, but let's just say there are like talking animals in this, which obviously comes, but there are like talking mice, which are literally racial stereotyped for the time, and talking sea creatures, and the whole thing with the iceberg is literally just a gang of sharks who literally tricked this puppy dog squid looking thing to literally pull the iceberg into the path of the Titanic. And then what's worse is that they literally have the squid thing try to save the people, and they actually end up saving everybody, which means the entire point of how this disaster is so traumatizing and really make it stand out was completely thrown out the window with all of these stupid shit. Talking sea creatures saving everyone, the Titanic, and oh boy, oh my god. The couple and the dog are really just a footnote next to all of this cringe taking place. And it's the first out of the 3 animated Titanic movies I have to watch for this list. And considering this is the first one, it goes in E tier. It's awful. I'd rather watch the propaganda movies over that. Moving on. Great. Titanic, The Legend Goes On. This is the second movie. There's a fucking rapping dog in the midst of this. This is like a reprise of trying to, quote unquote, honor the legacy of the Titanic from the first movie. But the first one was already made so poorly that they literally upped their game on shittiness and cringe with brand new awful characters, cartoon characters for the matter. Oh man, that rapping dog, I fucking hate him. This is enough to warrant this an F tier. I fucking hate this. But it wasn't as bad as this. Oh one, oh, so this is like the story of this is released in 2004, but the story takes place in 1915, where somehow we had submarines and the technology to go down super deep in 1915. You can already tell that this movie was completely stupid and retarded and outbuster. But then this gang of sharks has a new gang leader, and apparently the couple from the first movie are back with the dog again. And the thing is, the dog in this one didn't talk, but in this one it did talk. It even held a laser gun to use to protect its family. What the fuck is this? And then the sharks crash the ship, not because they have any emotional or any kind of attachment to the main cast from the original film. Their biggest reason for attacking a yellow submarine, you will not believe it. Yep, that's it. And don't even get me started on the Atlantis part. They arrive in Atlantis, and the puppy. I don't even want to talk about this movie. Just get this shit in the bin. Oy. Oh, great. Titanic 2. I mean, it's better than the 3 animated Titanic movies, that's for damn sure. But it's still pretty poor. It's still a really bad movie how it is. It's like, you know, one of those 2B, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but B movies, like, nothing cheesy, you know, the, back corner, indie, really bad indie movies that they used to make. The Titanic 2 definitely falls in that category. And basically, it's like horrible CGI. They used the Queen Mary to play as Titanic 2, and then the Titanic 2 is pushed off by icebergs, except they're driven by tsunamis that throw the ship all over the place. Which honestly, I don't hate that. It's creative. I'll give them that. I'm gonna put them in the front, just in front of Legend of Titanic, because I still have a tiny bit of fun with it. Oh, thank God we have the Save the Titanic with Robert Ballard. The same guy behind Secrets of the Titanic. Oh, thank God we're at this one. And it's a 100-year anniversary, which was released a little late for a 100-year anniversary. It's basically a long-term argument about whether they should bring back the ship or not, and to bring back the saving the Titanic stuff is good. They did a really good job, but like that only counts for some of the movie. The rest of the movie is kind of like a rehash of what we already learned from Secrets of the Titanic, and y'all know how much I don't like that stuff. I'm gonna put this in the very, very top of B tier. It's the only B tier Titanic movie. It still has really damn good elements, and it's a huge break that isn't gonna last long. But like, this is still amazing despite plenty of errors being repetitive. And then to finally end this off, we have 666 Titanic, the one I just had to rewatch for this list. Oh no. They made a third Titanic for this one. A third Titanic. So the beginning is like an outdated version of the Titanic sinking with a zombie. But then they come back to Titanic 3 with some horrible people. There are three different sides to every story. One is like witchcraft, a person who's like into like mythical witchcraft, magic, voodoo kind of thing, which that person kind of used to literally bring ghosts back from the dead. And the other side who wants to preserve the Titanic artifact, which I usually agree on, but like the person on that side is completely horrible. And the ghosts, when the Titanic 3 crosses over the old resting grounds of the first one, the woman uses voodoo ritual to literally bring these ghosts back from the ship, from the grave into the ship. And man, do they portray them so offensively incorrect. And that takes up a huge chunk in the movie, which ends, but that officially ends when an iceberg strikes the Titanic 3 and just straight up sinks it. They don't do anything unique with this one. It's literally just, it's on the same level of Titanic 2, except worse. But y'all gonna hate me for this, but I kind of prefer this over Titanic: The Legend Goes On, because at least there's no rapping dog. Anyway, this is my full tier list of all the Titanic movies ranked worst to best. This is just my opinion. If you please take it all in and soak it in. If you disagree on some things, please let me know what you disagree on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know which tier list y'all want to see me do in the future. See you all in the next video then. Bye.